Dogs for security. Major, front door. Guard duty. What is it, boy? Yep, I like dogs for security. Oh, good boy. Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. You're a good boy, Major. And as you can tell from the clip that you just saw, I'm going to talk about dogs for a little bit. And here's my boy Major. Show him the pretty face. You're a good boy. And I want to talk about dogs as it relates to home security and home defense. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about a professionally trained guard dog. I'm talking about the family pet. Okay. Just like good old Major here, right? At any rate, I've had dogs all my life. Good boy. And I love dogs. And I love their companionship. You know, when I was a kid, I guess all my life I've had pretty much larger types of dogs. And my favorite was German Shepherds. You know, when I was a kid, I loved the Ren 1010 show. As an adult, I love that ideal. Okay? That dog that can play with the family, can run around with the kids. But if the circumstances warrant, they will protect the family. Right? Dogs are great animals. They're pack animals, and they want to be a part of that pack, and they want to understand what their role is. And I think if you learn to encourage some traits of dogs and learn to maybe discourage other traits of dogs, that you can have a dog that's a great resource. That's an asset, that's an ally for you and your family when it comes to home security and even home defense. Okay? Now, I've taken a lot of classes about home defense, and some of them have been professional schools, like firearm schools, things of that nature, and others have been police departments, police officers meeting with residents and going over home security. Okay. One thing that I can say that's universal is that everyone always talks about outdoor lighting and having good doors and locks, and you know, having windows with good locks that operate the way they should, and all this other stuff. Hedges cut back, you know, so someone cannot hide behind them, and all these things. Something else that's always universal is dogs are great deterrents. You know what? And they don't say a particular breed of dog. They just say dogs are great deterrents. Because in many cases of the someone breaking into your house, the burglar, right? Two things that burglars don't like is light and noise, because that brings attention to them. And all dogs, whether they're little dogs or big dogs, they make noise, especially if they're alerted to something, right? It's when we get to home defense that you have to make more consideration, maybe of the breed and the size of the dog, maybe. Believe me, I know that there's some small dogs out there that are absolutely ferocious. They are fearless, and that's a wonderful thing. But do you want a 10-pound dog that's standing between your loved ones and an attacker? Or do you want a bigger dog, a more capable dog? So that's only a question that you can answer. I've just always liked bigger dogs. And when I got together with my wife, she introduced me to the world of English Mastiffs, which is the largest of the dog breeds. They are huge animals, right? Those are not large dogs, those are giant dogs. And as many of you, if you've watched any of my older videos, you've seen Sarge, right? Our English Mastiff, he was a Brindle English Mastiff. He would either stroll by or sometimes come up right into the middle of whatever I was doing. He was taking part of the video whether I wanted him to or not. Sarge was a great dog. He was a dog that it took a lot of work. It took a lot of work to get him where he needed to be, where he wanted to be. See, dogs want to know their role. And they want to make you happy. They want to be happy. And when you work with your dog and you train your dog, you develop that relationship and everybody's better off for it. You know, I've had people along my life tell me about their problem dogs, and they never like what I say, because I often say that most of the time the problem is not the dog, it's the owner. Right? You haven't communicated the boundaries and responsibilities. You haven't told that and made that dog understand what his expectations are. That's your fault. That's not the dog's fault. Right? So, Sarge, he was large and in charge, you know. He took the guard duty really quickly and perfected it. Maybe a little bit too much at first. He showed a lot of aggression. And I didn't want him to be too aggressive. I wanted him to understand that in most cases, I don't want him to be aggressive at all. But when I wanted him to be protective, then I wanted him to be aggressive. And that took some time. Sarge, as good a dog as he was nowhere near close as being the smartest dog that I've ever had. As a matter of fact, me and my wife used to joke, I used to say that we should have named him Lenny from Of Mice and Men. You know, this big, powerful man that, you know, had a mental disability. Sarge was powerful, and he was dumber than a box of rocks, I swear to God. But we got there together, and it'll strain your sensibilities. It will challenge you, but you can get there if you work hard enough with your dog. It was cute to watch Sarge interact with my grandson when my grandson was like 2 or 3 years old. Wasn't even as tall standing up as Sarge when he was standing on all fours. But Logan would sit there and tell him to sit, and he'd sit, make him lay down, and before you know it, Sarge is laying on his back and Logan is all over him playing. And when most people looked at Sarge, they saw this powerful animal. They were scared. But he understood what his role was. He understood his expectations, his limits, his boundaries. And he lived a happy life because of that. Now, most of the time I tell folks that, you know, you need to seek out professional training. Find that good instruction. And I don't disagree that this is one of those subjects. I'm not claiming that I know how to take your family pet and turn him into a first-class Sarge, right? All dogs are different. Their personalities are different. They share certain characteristics within breeds, but their personalities can be quite opposite. Inherently, dogs are curious, and you can use that to your favor. Encourage that. Inherently, because of their pack mentality, dogs are protective of their pack. And you have to carefully nurture that. I believe that when a dog builds confidence in himself, that aggression subsides. He knows that he doesn't have to show the aggression. And he also knows that there are some occasions where he needs to. It's striking that balance that's the difficult thing. I want to tell you a story about Sarge. I've said before I didn't know anything about training guard dogs, and I don't. I have an acquaintance of mine whose brother He does that for a living. He trains dogs to be guard dogs, home protection types of dogs, police dogs, different types of drug sniffing, explosive detecting types of dogs. That is his career, and from what I understand, he's very good at it. And I was around this acquaintance of mine's house one time, and he was telling his brother about Sarge. And I had a picture of Sarge on my phone. I showed it to him, and you know, he was saying, yeah, Sarge, man, that's a big dog, you know. But he's not the home protector that you think he is. And I said, well, I don't know. I've tried to encourage the proper traits that I believe that would make him a good home protection dog, a good protector of my family. And he was saying, you know, people think that of their dogs all the time, but that's just not the case. And he was rather adamant about it, and he challenged me. He said that he could prove to me that this big, powerful dog was not the protector that I thought he would be. And I accepted his challenge because I knew my dog. So he set up a scenario that he was going to come by the house and he was just going to come into the front door, and he was going to prove to me that Sarge wasn't that vicious home protector that I thought that he was. So it was a weekend. He designated a time that he was going to come by, and about 45 minutes, 30 minutes before then, me and my wife go into the back bedroom there and turn the TV set on. I want Sarge to be out front here alone. Sarge's daily routine was he loved to look out that window. He loved to watch the neighborhood. Sometimes I felt like he thought his responsibility was to guard the whole neighborhood. But anyway, he loved to watch everything that went on outside that window. And often he would just sit his head on that window sill there and stare out and watch the world go by. And during the day, he often would lay under that window, so just in case he heard something, he could pop up and see what was going on, right? Well, that's what he was doing. He was laying down below that window, and he had gone to sleep. He was snoring up a storm. And he did not hear this man come up on the porch. But when he started turning the doorknob, he woke Sarge up. And this professional, who thought he was going to prove to me that my dog needed special training, learned a lesson that day. Because when he opened up that door, Sarge hit him. Now, of course, this man had that real thick padded protective gear that they wear, including a helmet thing. But Sarge knocked him back through that door. And when me and my wife came into the front here to look to see, you know, what was going on, Sarge had knocked him off the porch and had him on the concrete walkway coming up to the porch, and had him right by his shoulder and base of his neck, and was literally shaking the man. Now again, Sarge was a very powerful, large, 240-pound English Mastiff. That man was a good-sized man, but he was hollering, "Get this dog off me." And I pulled Sarge back and put him into the house, and he got up and started taking off his protective gear and checking right here because he thought that Sarge might have broke his collarbone. But at any rate, he said that you know, Sarge is 1 in a million. Family pets aren't like that. I said, "Sir, I'm not a professional trainer, but I've tried to encourage certain traits, develop certain traits in my dog so that they would be that good home protector and go fetch the tennis ball." Right? So I'm not proclaiming that I'm a professional. I'm not claiming that I have all the answers. Dogs are different, and so are people. And you have to come to that alliance and that relationship and nurture and discourage. All to get to where you want that relationship and that dog to be. That's the important thing. Love your dogs. Train your dogs. You all will be a much more happier because of it. Now, maybe you don't feel like you possess the ability, or maybe you don't have the time that has to be put into training your dog. then I absolutely say seek out that professional training. Seek it out. And even now, I think the lesson that I learned is maybe I need to test my dog to see that he's going to follow through with what I think he will. You know, Major is exactly the opposite from Sarge. He has no aggression about him whatsoever. I've had to encourage him on the protection side of it. He's very alert. The game of guard duty, go into every door, every window, every room, he has mastered. But I've had to work on getting him online as far as protection. But I'm confident today, he's about 3.5 years old. I'm confident today that if somebody broke the door down and tried to harm my wife, they will first have to deal with Major. Not on the sideline, but they're going to have to deal with Major, because Major is going to be between my wife and that threat. And that's what I want. I don't want my dog to be a weapon. I do, however, want my dog to be an ally and a protector. All right, folks. Y'all may think I'm nuts. Y'all may think I don't know what I'm talking about. I can only claim that my success. Almost forgot. At any rate, thank you for watching, and remember to shoot straight on the range and in life. Thanks.